So I wanted to share this video with you all because splitting and turning is very important so that we don't lose hair and have slippage spots, and it just makes a nightmare for the mounting process. So this is what we're starting with, is just a raw coyote face that was just skinned off. So here's what the ears look like, the eyes look like, and the lips. So now I like to start with a number 10 scalpel blade. Everybody tells me I hold things weird, so feel free to change it up. This is just what I've gotten used to, and I go down through the very middle of that nose cartilage, the really thick part, and split it. You're pretty much going to end up with some holes. That's okay. Most of that inner nose you are not going to see when you mount it. You're going to cut it off anyways. So I start working around the nose. I cut my lip line nice and straight just because I don't need to worry about all that stuff on the top. I start working my way down. You're trying to just look for the meaty part. I feel with my fingers that are underneath. There I'm checking to see if there's any thick ridges. There was, so I keep going back and I just split and I pull and it just opens up really nice. The goal is to have that lip line lay super flat. You can see there, like, it's all nice and kind of white. You don't have any more red. I keep working my way around, split the entire way around the whole lip line. And here you can see I already fleshed off and split one side of the face. This is what we're aiming for, and I'm about to show you how I do the rest of it. You can see here where I have the little whisker follicles. I'm going to show you how you get those all opened up really nicely so you don't have any issues there. You can see how I have the eye opened up all the way down to all those little fatty globule things for the eyelashes. And then this is a completely turned, properly turned ear. The secondary ear there, the little wing that goes up inside. I'm going to show you all how to get that turned nice and clean and ready to be salted. So I am working my way kind of around the nose, trying to take all the meat off. You can see the difference between the whitish, bluish hide color and the meat. So this is the bottom of the nose, and you can see that white when I pull apart with my fingers. So I make it nice and tight in the middle. You can see that white really pop out, and that is a connective tissue that you are trying to cut into. Gives you a really good guideline so that you're not making holes everywhere. After the nose is kind of split, I come back and I start on those whisker follicles. I take off the thick meat over top of them first, and then I go back and I cut kind of in between them a little bit. You can leave your whisker lines straight, but sometimes if you have the extra time and you don't mind it, you can kind of cut up underneath every individual follicle. Just really makes it nice to be able to get salt up in there. So there you can see how nice and clean you got your straight whisker lines. I cut off that big hunk of meat I just filleted out of there, and I kind of just work around the face, taking off that thin layer of muscle. There is a patch of whisker follicles here that's on the bottom of the chin. You want to watch for that you don't just completely hack that off and make yourself a big hole. So now I'm going to start up at the eyes. I like to start out pretty wide, and I just slowly work myself in, trying to keep the blade at, I don't know, maybe a 45 angle to the skin. It's not completely parallel with it, but I just work my way around, and you can see as you get closer to where the eyelid line is, you start to see those eyelash, the black color come through, and you'll start to see those little fat globules poke through too. You should see that here any second. There they are. I just very carefully take the very tip of that scalpel and just make little tiny scores as I'm pulling apart with my fingers, and they'll start to really open up for you. I'm just working my way around, taking more of that muscle off around the eye. Definitely an area to be careful of because an eye, anything around an eye always seems really hard to fix flawlessly, and you also just don't want to make more work for yourself. So I just continue to kind of take all that muscle off on a nice even piece. Here I'm coming back to that one ear. I kind of forgot to take off that big lump of fat and muscle at the base. You do not want to leave that on. Just kind of pointless. Just makes it more of a hassle, more stuff for bugs to chew on when it's salted. I just like to work it off all in one big piece. It really comes off nice. It's not a hard area to pull off of there. And a little recommendation while I'm at it about scalpels. Really try to get good scalpels. I've gotten some really bad ones and it makes your job way harder. So that right there is a little part. It's just a very small thin muscle that ties the ear down into the head. You want to split that open. I can't tell you if I haven't and it slipped, but I would rather be safe than sorry. Split it open, get that little bit of meat up out of there. So now I'm kind of starting to just turn the entire ear. You can see I typically take my left hand and I'm pulling one direction, and then with my right hand that holds the scalpel, I'm kind of pushing down. That way it gives some tension, and then as soon as you hit that little connective spot with your scalpel, it just comes right apart. I pull apart, and then again you can see right where that edge is, where that bluish skin meets that white ear cartilage, and a little bit of that white sinew stuff in there, and that is what you're aiming for. You're just going to keep working your way around. I like to try to get most of the middle turned, and then I'll start fine-tuning it around the edges. The ear is just a really good place to be able to see that white sinew pulling tight. Of course, on these mammals that have the secondary ears, you got to really be careful when you get to that area because you can start to make holes, and to be honest, if you get off track, it's just going to make your job really hard because it's hard to get back on track. This is the secondary ear area right here. You can start to see that little tiny, little fold right there. Yep. So there's a little, try to study them before you get to cutting them. There's that part. It gets kind of cut out in the back. There's this little tiny wing that kind of cups up underneath that you got to open. So you just start taking it really slow, looking for that white spot, and let that skin just open up really nice like that. Right there, you can start to see a little tiny bit of the Swiss cheese starting. Right there it is. I call it the Swiss cheese because it's, the cartilage gets all holy like Swiss cheese, and that's when you know that you're getting close to the edge or you are at the edge. Because over here on the kind of right half, you can see a couple little tiny Swiss cheesy spots, but you're not getting close to the edge in that spot. You're gonna wait till you see it right at the edge, right in there. It's gonna let you know that you're getting pretty close because the cartilage is gonna end, and then it's just kind of skin on skin that you can open up just a little bit, but you don't want to get too carried away. I've had it before when I tan them and forget what I'm doing, and I try to squeeze water out of the ears, and I just blow the ear apart because it's so turned. So this is that little tiny wing that I was telling you about that kind of cups up around on the inside. I like to get up in there and try to open that up. This is the back side where it connects to the cartilage itself. I start trying to open that up so that it all gets in there. I use this tool. Pretty much I think like a mini baseball bat sanded down, and I get it up in there so that I can push the tip of that ear all the way through. So I like to sit the bottom of it on a flat surface, and I just start pushing down, and that makes that white sinew pop out, and I know where I gotta cut. So I just slowly work my way around. The tip of the ear is always the toughest part, so sometimes I like to take my fingernail and just pull it, and that's a little bit safer than sometimes cutting with a scalpel and making holes. There you can really see that Swiss cheese at the edge of the ear. So here, both eyes turned, most of the meat taken off the face, the nose is split and turned, lips are split and turned, and the whisker follicles are good to go. Now you just flesh the body and you're ready for salt. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and if you don't mind, leave me a comment of what else you'd like to see.